Hello and welcome to the Big Fish Theory, and this is a big one. We're heading into Old Trafford at the back of that massive FA Cup shootout win at West Ham, which had its ups and downs, as song goes, but we're looking a bit thin in tank. Daniel Farke didn't exactly have a sunny side up press conference. We're going to be without Anton Stark, so ligament injury from Cup, and that's a massive blow, especially with where he's been playing. Joe Rodon is not going to be there with an ankle issue. And Daniel James, he'll still be sidelined with that adductor strain. Noah Okafor and Goodmanson, he'll be passing late fitness tests, bleeding hopefully. Okafor had a great game, and Goodmanson obviously is massive player for us this year. Meanwhile, Carrick's Manchester United are sitting at third, and they're playing well at the moment, which is shit. Carrick was a bit coy about Matthias de Ligt's back and Dorgu's hamstring. Dorgu obviously is a bit of a nightmare. They've got squad depth that we can only dream about, to be honest. We've got his backs against wall. We're depleted, but we are defiant. We'll have Ampadu playing, obviously missed the last time because I think it's because he collected too many yellows. And they will be without, let's have it, Harry Maguire. I think he's got a red card, so he's missing. So we'll just see how are we hopeful, Dad, or are we just swimming against the tide?
We're always hopeful against them bastards, son. Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because I genuinely believe, I don't know how to feel about game until after this weekend's results. Because obviously West Ham play Wolves tonight. Then you've got Tottenham away at Sunderland and Forest. So if you go into that game,
Villa,
still 3 points clear with a better goal difference than West Ham, you'd be thinking, let's go for it. Let's give it a go. If we go into that game being a point clear, then your nerves start kicking in a bit. Injury news is not good. But I do think, we have been playing well, haven't we? We've said it all along. We have been playing well. And I think if we go for it against them a little bit, why not? Why not go and get a result? Yeah, it's going to be difficult because they are on a bit of form, but we're not on bad form ourselves. We just need to convert some of these draws away from home into wins. It is a concern. Rodon is a big miss. Let's be honest. I think is a huge miss. Goodmanson, fingers crossed. Okafor, maybe. We don't know. So, yeah. Obviously, you want to come away with a result, don't you? Because they are arrogant, aren't they? I was talking to a kid in pub last weekend before our West Ham game, and he's a Man U fan. Well, says he's a Man U fan. Probably saw him about 40 years ago on telly or something. They're all Man U fans, right? And it does me head in. They're in pub like when the club's played. And, they ain't got Sky in pub. There's no on. They just follow it on the phone. I'm sorry. You either watch your club play live. If you can't get a ticket, you're on web, whatever, or you watch it or listen to it anywhere you can. You're not in a pub just watching it on your phone going, oh, they've just had a missed chance 2 minutes after it happened. So, and it was arrogance. It's typical Man U fan. Oh, we're going to have you have no, blah, 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 all that lot. I'd like to go in next Saturday and just say.
I mean, that's the thing. We used to take AM radios out, even when I was a kid, when I was about 14, 15 years old, and if you weren't in an away game, you'd have AM radio listening to it. Yeah, they don't have that. Don't get me wrong. There will be some, there's obviously season ticket holders here and blah, 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 and I've got a bit less against them. But like I said, obviously I weren't around for real Chelsea days when I was a kid. I weren't born. But for me, hatred of Man U has absolutely developed from that point. There obviously is that Yorkshire Rose, blah, 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 and, but what really is that you used to go to these boozers and these halfpenny buggers and be sat there like, oh yeah, I'm a Man U fan, and you'd think, all right, then have you ever been there? I've been to Old Trafford more times than you have, sunshine. And I understand with tickets, especially, I mean, back then you had to have 30% available for free purchase, but now it's a lot more difficult and you're really stuck. I get that. But if they're not even watching the club play on telly, if they're not even listening to it on radio, they're not part of Club Addy. It's just that they could say at that moment in time, I'm a Man U fan because they were best side in the country and they won everything and it were easy for them to do. Whereas, if you're a real fan or a real club, look, if you're a local lad, fair dues. I've got no to say about it, fair enough. But I think, we could go on about emotion for a long time. But realistically, if Goodmanson is injured, I think we're in trouble. You've got to play a 4-3-3 because then if you haven't got Road on, right, Justin's going to have to play that centre-back or you're going to play Bourne out, right? And Justin at left-back. Now, if Goodmanson's injured, you can't play Justin in both positions, so you'd have to play Bourne out and then Justin. You lose a lot of that attacking threat, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Nonto can replace Okafor without physicality. But his defensive work rate, again, I'm fine with. I'm absolutely fine with. No Dan James on right, so you'd have to be playing him in that Okafor position. And Tanaka will probably get a start now, which is nice. At least you've got that forward motion sort of thing, especially when Stack's not here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, just going back up Man U thing. Yeah, any supporter that follows the club, I know a lot of people can't afford to go and watch them play. I understand that fully, but you still watch your club, don't you? You either watch it on telly, you listen to it on radio. We're in a society now where it's accessible everywhere. Podcasts, we see podcasts, don't we? You can watch it live on podcast. It's a little bit behind. So, yeah, your proper supporters will find a way to watch your football. So I was just knocking off on one in pub, like Daz they call him. So, yeah. But...
Well, rightly so.
Yeah, but, I mean, going to game, yeah, I mean, will he play Nonto? I mean, that'll be big.
Might not have a choice.
Well, you don't know. This Buonanotte now apparently has trained really well in the last 2 weeks. So if he puts him in before Nonto, then I mean, Nonto might as well get on a plane and just go back to Italy, hasn't he, really? So
I think that'll be marking it.
That will be marking it, yeah. I mean, it's... I think it's a big game because we're playing Man U, but forget who we're playing. It's a big game anyway. I still don't think. I was talking to a Leeds fan this morning actually, at Booker's, and I still don't think we should be in this position because you can argue about games when you get goals against you and stuff like that, but I do think tactically we've been a bit naive. We could have turned games round earlier in games, and I do think Leeds are a decent side, and we should be probably 6 or 7 points better off. Everton away, we should have changed it earlier. Sunderland at home, we should have changed it earlier. Brentford, we should have changed it. So there's points there where you look and you can say, like when Bournemouth scored and made it 2 apiece. Well, fair enough, Bournemouth got ball into box and they scored. But tactically, you change them games earlier when everybody can see and we're crying out when Leeds were better side but couldn't find a way through. I'm not saying we'd have won them, but I do think we're a better side than where we are position-wise. So yeah. Other than it being Man U, it's still a big game, and we'll be talking about this next weekend. We've got 3:00 kickoff next weekend.
Of course.
Again, that's going to be another big game, and a lot depends on results this weekend before we play. Does that put added pressure on?
Obviously, Forest having Villa, that's fine. Villa will probably... You'd expect Villa to... I mean, you never know this year with league, everything's all over the place. But you'd expect Villa to beat Spurs, Forest. And you'd expect Sunderland to at least have a good go at Spurs, Like, Sunderland are away, I think. I know Spurs are away for that. So... it's a tough place to go to. It's a good ground, they've got a good set of fans. It's loud, and especially for a side that's struggling mentally at the moment. And obviously, everything with De Zerbi, do they want him? Do they not? Especially after last game when they went, Forest last game, and they had that big showing of support from fans, and then the 3-0 down, and you think they're not going to get another showing of support like that where they all band together and say, "Come on, let's get behind club," especially not now. And then. West Ham and Wolves. Wolves have found a bit of form. West Ham's just played a long-ass game against us. That must have took something out of them. And Bowen misses penalty. They're by far and wide their best player. Must be dejected now. Must be a bit dejected. Looking at it thinking, am I allowed to leave a club that my father-in-law supports?
Yeah, well, probably it's a good thing if he does leave club. Family law supports him. No, I think the thing is, right, they're all winnable games, though, for them. So, West Ham against Wolves, it's a winnable game for West Ham. They'll be going into this game thinking they've got to win. I mean, Villa's hit some form again. They went through a sticky patch, Villa, didn't they? When we, they've gone through a bit, but they seem to have come out to the other side again and found some form. Won away last night again and won away well. So out at 3 games, I would say probably Forest have got hardest game. Tottenham depends. You can see them get. I mean, Sunderland not a lot to play for up there. You can see Tottenham maybe. I don't know, getting a point at least. And then Wolves. West Ham and Wolves on paper. West Ham's got to win. That's a huge game for West Ham tonight. That's biggest game at weekend. You know, because if West Ham lose this, then you've got Tottenham going into Sunderland a bit more relaxed. You've got Forest going in against Phil, and you've got us going in against Manu. This is a big game because they're third from bottom, West Ham. They lose this tonight or don't pick 3 points up. That's that could be season defining for them, I think. So that's what I mean tactically wise. And how we go into game on Monday against Manu is a lot will determine, I think, what happens of at weekend. You know, because obviously then your mindset changes a bit, doesn't it? If you're a point in front and you have to go to Old Trafford, they're in good form. You don't know, do you? You know, you might have to go and get 3 points. You might have to try. Whereas if it stops as it is, or West Ham draw tonight, we can go in there and maybe be a bit more defensive and try and get a point. You know, you still got your gap then, haven't you?
Defensive-wise, if you haven't got Rodon's pace, what I would say is because obviously they've got a few players that you'd be worried about, and Buemo and Cunha, but Harry Maguire, obviously from from set pieces, you haven't got to worry about him because he's not there. You know, your Rodon missing, we are at that pace, and Bono didn't have the pace. And then Buemo is quite a strong, forceful player to break through them lines, and he's quick. And Cunha, obviously, I don't want to say it about any scum player, but he's class. He's a very, very good player. I mean, Forest, they played Thursday anyway, so they might be a bit knackered. But also Villa played Thursday as well, didn't they? And they beat, I think, Braga 3-1. So you've got a weekend, but it's same every weekend, isn't it? It's every weekend we're talking same. It's just, this is a massive weekend. And it's because you're in that relegation battle. Problem with us is, obviously, we're doing a 2-tier because, we're going to be FA Cup winners. And it's a nightmare to have to juggle both. But it'll be even worse next year when we've got European football to contend with. Can't be in Europa League and complaining now that every weekend on here we've got a bit to deal with. And hopefully we don't end up in the same position as Palace, that they get into these positions and it absolutely, collapses for them because they haven't got squad depth. We haven't got squad depth for this game. Like, if we went out there aiming to defensively play for a point, catch him on a little bit of a break, Calvert-Lewin will start no matter what. Maybe it's Nemecha pulling off, but it just doesn't work when he's pulling off to the left. I'd like to see Nonto, if not Okafor. I think Ampadu, obviously, he'll be starting. I think it'll be Tanaka, and I wouldn't be sad if it were Gruev that just were there, and instead of having maybe Aronson moving that position forward, you've got Tanaka doing it. Aronson second half can come on, and with that energy, because you see him flagging at 70th minute, which is fine because, he exhausts me just watching him. If you look at his heat map, it's just red. It's just him just all over the place. When you've got a tired side, that's a better time to do it. And I think defensively, if there's no Rodon, I don't know whether you're going to put, you have to put just in there, Ed Bornau. I'm not against Bornau. I think for money we paid for him, he's been incredibly capable, but he's not quite that quality. You could see that, you know what I mean? But if Goodmanson's not there, Justin's got to play left back, and that drops off a lot of what you're going to have. Then you're playing down right with Bogle. But I think it's going to be a tough game for us. And I think because of injuries that we've got, that the key, that you've got Stark for those set-piece taking. You've seen a set-piece taking without Stark. Bleeding hell, it's shocking. And it'll be Gruev doing that. And not against the kid, but we've got one bloke that can take a set-piece, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And he's not there.
Yeah. I mean, some of the balls into the box against West Ham was shocking. I mean, Justin put that free kick in, it went straight out for a goal kick, and you know, some corners weren't brilliant. So you're right, yeah, we do miss that that threat from free kicks, and probably set pieces is going to be as big. You know, we don't score a lot arching up and play these days. I know we did the other day, don't get me wrong. I mean, one were a penalty, and one were, you know, open play. But we do have to rely a lot, I think, probably on set pieces for this game. You know, and they are important. If we get corners, ball's got to go into the box. You know, not go over everybody's head or be too short. So, and if we do get out outside box, then we could, unless we can sign the Enders just for one game or something like that, just take free kicks. Or Rafinha. I mean, Barcelona got hammered the other day, so he might just nip over for one game. One lone game.
He's injured.
Of course he is. I didn't play. Probably an injured Rafinha, actually, still getting our side, wasn't he, in fairness?
No problem, yeah. That was a treat at a time, yeah.
But I do think, going back to what you said, Ad, about FA Cup and stuff, I think the thing is, you look at Forest, you know, they've had that many players coming in and out, they've had that many managers coming in and out. You look at teams that's changed managers this season. You know, Forest, players coming in and out, managers coming in and out. Tottenham, you've got West Ham. Yeah, they've had a bit more continuity with Nuno kind of thing. But the only team actually outside top four, outside West Ham and Tottenham and Forest, is us, and we have got that. And we are a decent side. We do look a good unit, and they are together. So you know, players do play for each other. So going into next year when we have won FA Cup and we are in Europe, then Board's going to have to spend a bit of money, really, aren't they?
Oh yeah, squad depth building.
I mean,
yeah,
FA
for
Cup,
sure it needs to be squad depth.
They don't need to have the head on FA Cup. They just want to go out and enjoy it and just see it how we see it. You know, we'll all go down there and it'll be, do you know what, let's get it going. If we win, brilliant. If not, that's his cup final and let's move on from that. You know, day down at Wembley, which obviously semi-final I don't agree with. I've made that plain before. I think the semi-final should be at neutral grounds and Wembley should be the pinnacle of your career to play there as a player. You know, because a lot of players don't play for England or whatever they play for. So I do think that it's a free hit for me with what they call it game, with FA Cup. Just go out and get, you know, but let's see what happens this weekend, and then we'll be in a better mindset, won't we? You know, this time next week we'll have a better idea of where we are, and then if you are shitting yourself, that could have an effect on FA Cup.
It could be, yeah. But it could also be that if you are shitting your sender, you're looking at it, you're coming in and you're thinking, right, with injuries we've got, with positions, we could be looking at a stronger side being a 4-3-3. Go back to, and there's no wrong with that. You know, everybody, I remember back then, and I said it back then, and it's, you know, it's documented. So, like, it weren't the fact that he changed the system. It weren't the fact that the system that he put in place. It was the fact that we changed the system, that it were more unpredictable. Now, if you went back to 4-3-3, arguably with injuries we've got, that could work. You know, you'd put Aronson onto right, and you could play Nemecha or Okafor off at left, and have Calvert-Lewin a bit closer together. Then you'd have Ampadu, Tanaka, Gruev, and that's how you'd be looking at maybe even Longstaff. For somebody to see a game and control a game and pace it, you know, that might not be bad, Longstaff, to be honest.
Could be a good call, that really has, yeah. I still think, it all depends on results this weekend and mindset you're going to go in and what system he plays. We'll have a better idea, you know, Sunday tea time, really, and what system and what we do need to do. Because you might have to go for it. You might just think, you know what, it's a game that nobody expects us to win. If we do have to win it, we are a point clear. We might have to, you know, just go for it, see what happens. But we might not.
It's also, you're on about that consistency. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, we are consistent, aren't we? We're not playing that bad. We're not playing bad. We've had a few bad results away from home that we should have had more points, really. But we haven't had many bad performances away from home. Probably Arsenal, Forest, Brighton. But after a season, actually, there's games here we should have won. You know, Palace, game changer. We play again, sent off, that kind of thing. And the Everton, you know, I keep going back to Everton again, but we should have won Everton. I'm sorry. We should have changed it a lot earlier. We should. He just left it way too late. Well, we could all see it until they scored. So we have, other than games like, so a lot will be down on Daniel Farke as well, really. It could be an era. We could go into the season, but we could get knocked out at semi-final at FA Cup, and we could get relegated, and we could be looking for a new manager. Or they'll be negotiating a new contract for him at the end of the season because they've stopped up and they've won FA Cup and in Europe. Yeah, if you wanted another 10 million a year.
Far, but at this point right now, like you said, and the only one you missed out was Burnley, who aren't changed manager. Burnley,
far,
you're at this point.
Well, they're down, aren't they? Yeah, they're down.
Yeah.
Same as
Wolves and Burnley
Wolves and Burnley have gone. So that's why I didn't mention them, really.
But, like, you sat there and you're looking at that we are in an FA Cup semi-final. We are 4 points clear above three. Well, one of a potential three sides to go down, right? I mean, bloody hell, that's one hell of a season. We always were going to be in this. And if we remember at the beginning of the season, look at what we'd spent, look at where we were looking thin, worried about Nemetcha's injury record, worried about Calvert-Lewin's injury record, thinking, is this a strike force that we're going in with? But, really, really concerned. And also worrying about the levels that we'd spent when we're looking at that Pashao, and everybody's like, oh, bloody hell. I mean, he's a player. And you come out and Okafor's definitely growing into him, Sen. You've got Calvert-Lewin, who's been incredible, Metcher, who's been fantastic. I mean, for what he is, his goal output per minute is fantastic. Goodmanson, who's just absolute class. You're looking at Pascal Strike, who's been there for ages, and he's back at that level, and he's managing. Rodon managing. Ampadu, who I think for me, I was most concerned about going into this season because he's got no pace whatsoever. But he's been absolutely, I mean, apart from odd game where he has turned himself off a little bit, which is expected, he's been fantastic. Leadership-wise, brilliant. That yellow card he took against West Ham, fantastic on Traore. Wonderful, wonderful leadership. Togetherness. For me, we've had a great season, far above my expectations of where we would be right now. That we're not, other sides are looking up at us, and I really thought it'd be touch and go, especially with money we'd spent. And then Anton Stack, you're getting these players, 18 million, 12 million, 10 million, 5 million, and you're thinking, bloody hell, first time you see Bornau, you're thinking, it's not actually that bad. I wondered what we're going off. Can't see that with Buonanotte happening, to be honest. I can't see him starting. If he starts ahead of Nonto, I'd be putting him in my resignation. And I know what Nonto did, and it pissed me off still because I'm just built that way. I can't help it. And I try not to be, and I try to be more mindful about how football works these days, but I still want to work out it used to. I still want Tony Yeboah to come up and sign my shirt for me again, you know what I mean? I still want to have that connection when you used to go to dinner and dance at Christmas, but it don't exist no more. And that's fine. But Joe Peru, that, we've seen a season through now where that's probably done now. Buonanotte, pointless. If he starts ahead of Nonto, that's sacrilegious for me, because Nonto were fantastic again when he came on.
I think Peru's one who's going to definitely go. I think he's had a few chances, and I know he's only had a few minutes kind of thing, but you have to make an impact, and he hadn't kind of done that. Okafor, he seems to have one good half and then just fade out at games a little bit, and that's when you want your Nontos coming on, to be an attacking threat, which is what happened the other day, actually. And in fairness to Nonto, he did get in some good positions, actually.
He's the only one that could put a ball in box.
Yeah. I mean, he should have scored. We all know that. Probably that back flick and that one he probed at crossbar. But I don't mind that because he's gaining positions. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hark back to 92, son, when we won league. We licked Man U. We licked them. They'd not won league since 60s. And everybody, and I mean everybody, in UK, at Waterloo's fan, journalist, and they wanted Man U to win league that season. And we were chasing our way up. I mean, we were chasing. We were a good side that year. Wilkinson had got a brilliant side together, and that togetherness as well that they had. And when we licked them, wow. I can remember Liverpool game, the day we played Sheffield United, right? We went up to Sheffield United and we licked them 3-2 in a crazy game. Then we all went back to the pub to watch Liverpool Man U. Because that put us, that put it in our hand. It was first time all season they'd ever actually, 2 games to go, we put it in our hands. And we all went down to the pub and we watched Liverpool. And Liverpool fans were singing for Leeds, were singing Leeds songs because they didn't want Man U to win, But
Yeah,
press
of
were
course,
gutted.
yeah.
Press hated it, They were just
But they
brilliant.
still do.
I tell you a little story about that, right? We were in, we went to Great Yarmouth, and we went to Dogs the night that we played Coventry. They'd lost against Forest, and then we went to Yarmouth. And they got Wolves to play. And we went into Dogs, and it was sports night at the time, and there was this little security, but we were watching Dogs, and I was just like this, and I can't remember if you remember it all. Anyway, so I'm just in and out, and I'm ringing my mate, I'm ringing Jeff up, I'm up phone to Jeff, he's got it on old teletext, and he couldn't watch it, we're turning it off because he felt sick, and I kept ringing him, and all this. Anyway, I remember it got to end the game, and I thought, right, so I went up to these security guards who were in this dog thing, and they must have thought I were a Man U fan. I says, how's Man U gone on? He says, oh, mate, they've lost. Fucking yes! Because it were in our hands. And I run over, and I remember Lorraine looking at me. And I got up phone and I rings Jeff up. They're fucking... And I was jumping up and down, and everybody's walking out at Dogs going, who's that fucking idiot there? What, Oh, man, it was just getting, and then it was just probably... Honestly, that week, we won league, and that week, I can't remember it. We were at every night. We had tickets for Maresdale, me, Sean, Jeff. We all went up to Maresdale and had a good time. Had photos took with trophy, which I've still got in. It's still up on wall in there. We're all round trophies. And we were at every night, getting pissed, bumping into Leeds fans. It was just, honestly, what a week that was. And then it all accumulated when we played Norwich at Ellen Road. And we followed them all round, and just what a, But to lick Man U, and I think if I remember right, Ferguson said it gutted him, because I know they went on and did what they did, and then we faded off. Obviously, well, we didn't fade off; we went off a cliff season after.
It took 10 years,
but I don't care, me, because I've got that in my life. We licked Man U for title. That was brilliant. That was everything that season. And they'd had a cup run as well. We played them in cup semi-final at Ellen Road. We played them at home and away, and we lost. And I don't think I've ever felt, my stomach for about 3 or 4 days, but I think that probably was a good thing. I think that just set us up for final running. So, yeah, when I think about playing Man U, big smile on my face. And the thing is, Leeds fans and Man U fans don't mix. They don't mix. You can't, all my mates are Leeds fans. 90% of them are all Leeds fans, or the supporters that we don't clash kind of thing. But you could never have a Man U fan as your mate. You can't. We went, that time we went to Benidorm and we were stood in that bar, and we were all in that bar, and old little Dave Cordwell's here, the me, Sean, Jeff, all lads, you were there, and this kid come over, and I'm a Man U fan. And it lasted about 2 minutes, and him and Dave were fighting. It just kicked off. It's your Man U fan. Yeah, how's it going, mate? And then it just got nasty straight away. It just got nasty. You remember that? And we ended up kicking that sports bar in Benidorm, and we ended up buying everybody in like, oh, Dave, you're going to give this kid some jib. And because you don't mix. You can talk to Liverpool fans, Tottenham fans, Arsenal fans, and it don't bother you. But you never, if you were a Leeds fan, you'd never knock about with a Man U fan. You couldn't do it. I couldn't anyway, put it that way, because you'd be arguing constantly. I mean, kid in pub, I talked to him and he's all right, but you wouldn't, he won't be my best mate ever, because he don't follow the club I follow.
What would be your prediction then? What would you take now? You'd take a point, yeah?
I go back, I still think it depends on results this weekend. I mean, if everybody loses, then, yeah, we'll go for it. Let's get 3 points. But, yeah, you take a point, wouldn't you? Obviously, you would at present. But, we're not playing bad away from home, and we should have licked West Ham. It were only that last crazy, stupid 10 minutes that cost us against West Ham. It didn't cost us in end, but could have cost us in
far too many times this season.
I agree. Yeah, we do concede a lot of late goals, don't we? So let's be 4-0. It took me 5 minutes to go, and then we should be all right, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I'd take that. What would be your prediction then?
We'll concede because we always concede. So I'm going for two apiece. I'm going for two apiece. Calvert-Lewin. Hopefully, I think Calvert-Lewin's going to be huge for us as we go forward to these last few games. He's got 10 goals. We're not getting a lot of goals from anywhere else, so we do need now a strikers to step up. The big money players to come now and pull Leeds out to, what we could be in really. So I think Calvert-Lewin will score. I do honestly.
I've got one for you. I've got a prediction. I'm going to have to score any time. I think, as I've been watching it, every game, it gets a little bit closer and a little bit closer to the last few have been on target. I'm having Ampadu, I'm having Ampadu to score. To beat him and Ampadu to score.
So, yeah.
Because
Only
he's been building up and building up, and I think this moment is going to do it.
Yeah. So how much money have you won this year?
If one...
on Leeds, I mean. Yeah,
well,
on Leeds.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I didn't win 200 quid. When I West Ham,
None.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason for
while,
that.
Yeah. Yeah, but our lass earns plenty.
Hey, I'm not saying that, right? So basically, you're like me. Your heart rules your head.
Time, we're 2-0 down. Oh, I'll have Leeds to win. I can see something here. And not always can I see something. It's just that I believe it somewhere.
Yeah, well, that's the thing,
no
you have
sense.
these players. I remember when me and Sean used to take you and Emily, and not you and Emily, we all used to go together. And I remember we used to have Molinar to score all the time. Do you remember? He were always 33-1, somewhere around there. And we kept putting this money on. And this weekend he scored with an header first. Me and old Sean won like. You remember that? We always used to have Molinar. So you always pick a player, don't you? That don't necessarily, I mean, if you'd have picked Roden every game, you'd be well done, wouldn't you?
Exactly, yeah. But, from set pieces, we have got Biol, we have got Strike, we've got Ampadu to take them long throw-ins, and it started again where Biol's moving further forward to do that little nod on, which we've been waiting for. So there is opportunities there. It's just that set piece-wise, I don't know who's going to take them. I don't know who's going to be lobbing that ball in the box because we haven't got anybody that's got any type of ability for it. And I think we'll struggle that end. I think I'd take a 0-0, boring, shitty 0-0 now, even before weekend's games are playing, because I think that would be a massive point. It's by far and wide our biggest game left at season. And I keep that pressure on. Not everybody's going to win below us.
Biggest game at present. It might be Tottenham, it might be West Ham, it might be Bournemouth. They're all going to be massive games coming up now.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But this is scum away.
I agree with you. Oh, yeah. Listen, I mean, that home game, should have linked him at Ellen Road.
Yeah.
Should have linked him at Ellen Road.
Well, I mean, that was two halves. If you looked at it, I looked at it earlier for stats and all that, and it were pretty even. I watched highlights again. Obviously, Aronson scored, didn't he? And then Cunha scored for them.
They scored straight away.
Yeah, like 3 minutes later or something, yeah.
Should have saved it, really.
And,
should have had an hand on it. But saying that, if you look at us, when we played Liverpool, got some at Anfield, should have won game, And
at home.
Chelsea, away from home, we were lucky against Chelsea 2-apiece, we know that. But we got something out of that game. Only team that's done us this season is Arsenal. And they're far and above.
Yeah, truly done us, yeah.
Yeah, truly done us. And I don't think, tactically, we were a bit naive with both games. But hey-ho, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Come on.
All right. I mean, are you excited, though? Thing is, it's ages away as well.
Do you know, right? Right, I'm 65 and I talk to lads and I still get butterflies in my stomach. I still get sick. Jeff does. John does. It doesn't matter. At our old age, you can be 15 and people will look and think, he's knocking on. I still feel sick going into a game sometimes. When the big games, you still get that tightness in your stomach because you want your club to win. You don't want your club going down. You want your club to win and you want them to do something. Yeah, I mean, I've got one eye on Wembley now. We booked us. Trains came out yesterday and I was straight on to Sean after about 5 seconds. But all right, so bang, bang, bang. In 10 minutes, Luke had booked them all. We haven't even got tickets yet. Yeah, get train, but spend 90 quid, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, looking forward to game on Monday. Looking forward to West Ham game tonight. I'm going to have a few beers and watch that West Ham game tonight.
That's it, innit? You can chill out and enjoy these moments now till Monday. But I think Monday morning, you wake up and you're feeling a bit sick and you're saying you get there and And it's kind of like when England start World Cup and you're going, we're not going to win it, we're not going to win it. And you hear that whistle blow.
Probably right, though.
We're winning World Cup. We're going to win fucking World Cup, and it's every fucking time. I'm absolutely down on it. And then we get to that moment, you think, there's no chance we'll lose this. And then we do. Anyway, thank you for joining. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm sorry we waffled on a bit because obviously we still tend to have a bit more statistics, but fuck all that for Man U away. This is about passion and pride, and we all love it, and we all hate it that they're playing well under Carrick. We've had a tupping under Carrick before, haven't we? We're at Middlesbrough in Cup, but obviously he's turned them around, and that's shit. But it's for us. We're playing well. We're in a good position. We're in a semi-final. They can't say that. They're not in any cup competition at all, are they? So, we're in a good position. And anybody that's thinking about Farke having his inability to get through this I think you're wrong, to be honest, personally. And, I'm telling you, Pride will be fantastic. All right, Dad.
Yeah. All right. Take care, son. See you soon.
Speak to you Monday. Bye-bye, love you.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The Big Fish Theory, a Leeds United podcast.